1, 0.
Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Latin Explaining. My name is Denise Gonzalez. For those who do not know me, for those who do, you guys know how we do it out here. So, like and subscribe if you haven't done so. And also hit that bell for notifications so that you don't miss a single show we do. Now, today is a very unusual time where I will almost never go live, but you guys know that I follow very closely things that I had covered here and new developments that happen regarding news here on Latin Explaining, either in Latin America or here in the United States in our diasporas. And you guys know I have been following very closely the situation happening with Eliezer Molina in Puerto Rico. And there's some new development on what's going on with him and his fight for the natural resources in Puerto Rico. Now, before we get there, before we get there, I have something to say. I see that God Buddy is here. What's up? Everything good. We just came out of a night of celebration of another anniversary together. So that's what's up. And before we start with Eliezer, you guys know I absolutely love combat sports. So I'm going to make a comment for those of you guys that did not watch the PFL fight yesterday with Anthony Pettis. Anthony Pettis is a Puerto Rican Mexican fighter. It was initially of the UFC. Now he's on PFL, according to him, because they offered to pay him more. Now let's not forget that this kid has had a great stellar beginning, but lately, I don't know. Oh my God. Anthony, what's wrong with you? Anthony Pettis, the dude that literally knocked out Wonder Boy. Okay, that's the amount of skills that this kid has. And now we've seen him after his fight with Tony Ferguson. I believe it was in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. He has just decided to be a punching bag for people. And his answers regarding this whole situation, it's not enough, so eh, I'm torn between what he should do and what fans actually will want to see. At the end of the day, he's still gonna continue, of course, but Anthony, come on, man. You come from two very uh strong Latin communities. You have to have that in you. What the fuck is going on with you? I'm going to play you guys some of his commentary post fight that he did regarding this whole situation of the loss he just took yesterday. Yesterday was a massacre for Anthony Pettis, if I'm being realistic, of course. But this is what he said after the fight. Let's just watch what he has to say about it.
So when I look at the performance, I judge myself based on, how present I was in there. Adjustments was I making? I didn't make any adjustments.
Nice combination again from Collar, taking the fight to Anthony Pettis.
It kind of happened so quick, it felt like I didn't have enough time to adjust and make movements and make the right decisions and transitions to fight a guy like Collar.
Oh, nice! Collar puts Anthony Pettis down.
I tried to force them big kicks, the big jumps. I was falling around the cage. I kind of looked sloppy, and that pissed me off, I'm too good to look that sloppy out there.
Oh, big kick! Huge kick by Pettis.
Honestly, the kick hit him, and I saw he was wobble, but then when I hit him with that jump knee, that's when I thought I had him.
And knee! Can Anthony Pettis pull victory from the jaws of defeat?
He took it. He wanted to win that fight.
Now, you guys saw that basically his whole excuse for not winning this fight, which we all thought he was going to win. This was his debut in PFL, by the way. Let's start from the beginning. He said that he went to PFL and decided not to sign with the UFC again because he was going to get more money. Let's not forget, like I said a few minutes ago, he has turned into this punching bag for all these guys in the UFC. So he decided to just uh, go to PFL because they were offering him more money. But if you take into consideration that this is his debut, how much money do you think PFL is going to pay Pettis now? Do you think he's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Do you think his performance is worth of even PFL? I see that Jose joined. Hi, Jose. How are you? It's nice to have you here. Um, but definitely, I'm not taking away from Anthony Pettis. I'm actually a super fan of Anthony Pettis and the way he fights. He's so energetic. His fights are action packed. Okay. He has never had a boring fight. Even when he loses, he has amazing fights. Now he lost to Nate Diaz. He lost to so many people. And now this one. And I'm like, something has to change. Okay, you have mad skills. This kid has mad skills for MMA. However, I think something either it's something that I commented to my fiance last night. I was like, either he lost all his motivation or something is not right with him physically. Okay, because there's no way you have all those skills or that power. You're still young as hell, and you're just a punching bag for these dudes. Some might say, from what I have heard, hi Ramon, how are you? For what I have heard, some have said that this dude's now at the UFC that they're allowing, I believe, is testosterone therapy now. Some dudes might say, well, he decided not to start doping or nothing like that. But at the end of the day, if you're not going to do it, you know what you're going to face. So you have to train for that. In my opinion, even though nobody asked, but I'm still going to give my opinion, I believe he needs to change his corner completely because his game, it's already something that it's become very very predictable by these guys, and they're training for the way he fights. So if he wants to continue, in my opinion, he needs to change his corner completely, completely 180, so that nobody can know and nobody can train for him. That way he has the upper hand, probably win the next fight, who knows. But to be honest with you, there's a lot of potential wasted when it comes to Anthony Pettis. And I was so pissed that he lost. I was like, dude, what the hell? Like, what the hell? What's wrong with you? So definitely, I see that Johnny Mills is here. Morena, hi everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you like this video and also subscribe if you're not subscribed to my channel. But definitely, I'm like, dude, what in the actual fuck? Like, how do you lose such an easy fight for you? It should have been easier than that, but we don't know what's happening. But if he's losing his motivation or whatnot, he needs to change his corner. He needs to do something about it, because otherwise he'll lose every contract. Nobody will touch him, and that would be very sad. Like I said, this is a Puerto Rican Mexican kid that has mad talent, but unfortunately can't seem to grip on it or tap in the way he used to be or the confidence he used to have before Ferguson in 2019 to actually, or 2018. I'm not sure if it's 2018, 2019, something like that. To actually bring the action and finish the job. So definitely, Anthony Pettis, I wish him the best, but we will be watching what's happening because fans, including myself, we're not happy with his performance. It's trash. So definitely, I wanted to comment on that and let me know your opinion on this dude and like the fight he gave us yesterday. Do you think Anthony Pettis should retire? Do you think he should change his corner? You agree with me? Do you think he's doing okay? Do you think this is the best he could do? Do you think he lost his motivation, or he's probably injured and he's not disclosing it? What do you guys think? Basically, well, like I said, we will have to probably watch one or two more fights at PFL to actually determine what's going on with Anthony Pettis. But it's such a fucking shame. I still can't believe it. Anyway, moving on to today's breaking news. I'm going to start with a video. It's going to be in Spanish, but you guys know I always try to translate a briefing of what I play here because I know I have a lot of people that don't speak Spanish. But Eliezer Molina yesterday, after his first hearing, facing, you guys know he's facing 14 years. For those who do not know the story, let me start from the beginning. Eliezer Molina is an engineer that studied for many years in Puerto Rico and also decided, when he started facing a lot of red tape that he had to cut through to actually get things done, he decided to invest a lot of his money into the agriculture of the country so that Puerto Rico can have food sovereignty, because 80% of the products that Puerto Ricans consume today, it comes from overseas and it's not the best quality of foods, whereas the stuff that gets planted in Puerto Rico gets sold somewhere else so other people have fresh foods while we have crap food. So he decided to start just planting and developing a lot of acres of land in Puerto Rico, and he got a lot of pushback. That made him run for governorship as an independent candidate in the 2020 elections. And unfortunately, even though he had a lot of support, he still lost. And he decided to continue to fight, to continue to develop the lands that he's developing in his business. A lot of people love him. Some people don't agree with him. Some people think that he's doing it for clout. I personally believe that what clout can you actually get from defending natural resources when you're also putting in jeopardy your business to do so just because you believe that these things should be preserved for future generations. So I don't believe he's doing this for clout. I believe he's doing this because he actually cares. And if you're willing to go 14 years to jail just to defend the coasts of our island, you're not doing this for clout. Come on. So I'm going to show you guys the video and then we'll get deeper into what Eliezer was talking about and what exactly is going on. So before I share the video, like I said, you guys, make sure you like this video because it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me grow my channel. So let's just hear Eliezer.
Muy buenas noches. Yo le doy las gracias a mi pueblo por haber permitido brindarnos una oportunidad de poder contribuir con nuestra sociedad y poder acabar con los corruptos de este país. Yo le doy las gracias a cada uno de todos los compañeros que han decidido cursar esta batalla. Y yo creo que el programa de hoy, lo que ustedes van a escuchar aquí, pues, me parece que las autoridades pertinentes deben coger este video, grabarlo, ustedes deben compartirlo. La prensa de este país, si quiere hacer algo, vayan y busquen de lo que yo les voy a decir a los protagonistas, porque aquí los corruptos llegaron a su fin. Yo les dije a ustedes que veníamos a combatirlos y ellos cometieron el error de meterse con la generación equivocada. Primero, antes de yo decirles los nombres, porque vamos con los nombres de todos los corruptos que están detrás, que me quieren hacer daño a mí, que le quieren hacer daño a otras personas, a mi familia, y yo creo que ustedes lo van a lamentar. A las personas que utilizaron todo esto para tratar de enjuiciarnos de una manera selectiva, ustedes van a caer también, uno por uno van a caer. A los que dieron los donativos, a todos los políticos que hicieron todas estas movidas y estas fechorías, ustedes van a caer también. Pero yo primero voy a comenzar con un charlatán que pisó los estudios de Jay Fonseca, a quien le pido por este medio tiempo igual para poder nosotros desmantelar a quien ellos le llaman un consultor ambiental que es un contratista ambiental, y voy a empezar con usted para luego terminar con los corruptos de este país. Yo tuve que, por desgracia, escuchar el programa de Jay Fonseca y a este individuo que se llama, de apellido Más, se me olvida hasta el nombre porque fue mi sangran, mi retina. Y yo escuché a este señor decir que la piscina de Rincón no la tumbó, no la arrancó el mar, que la tumbó los vientos del huracán María.
Now I'm gonna stop right here because it's a lot to unpack, right? But basically, he's talking about how he wants people to start listening to what he's saying in this specific video, and also his there's a show with Jay Fonseca. For those you guys are not familiar with Puerto Rican television, Jay Fonseca is a lawyer that decided to do a TV show with a network in Puerto Rico to actually denounce stuff like this as well, because there's so much corruption in the island that he realized, hey, if I go into private practice or even public service, how far am I really going to get, and how, reach I will have to actually denounce the things that I see. So he decided to just turn it into a show, and he does a lot of commentary. So he invited a quote unquote expert on this type of topic. I don't know the credentials of the dude because they're not necessarily shared in that show, but supposedly, this dude could provide a lot of information on what's happening with the infinity pool that's being rebuilt in an area that's public domain. And also, let's not forget that it's far into the land maritime limit zone where you cannot actually build. Eliezer is an engineer, so he's a professional in what he's talking about. So these people are like, well, Eliezer doesn't know what's happening. And basically, this quote unquote expert said yesterday that supposedly the pool that was previously there in that specific location was not destroyed by the sea reclaiming what it's the sea space, the coast. It was destroyed by the winds. And Eliezer is trying to just like show off and like shame him for being so stupid, because what winds can actually do to lift up cement with bars, steel bars in there. So let's continue listening to what he's saying.
Que no fue el mal. Yo le voy a decir algo a usted, señor Más. Usted dice que usted es un consultor ambiental. Mira, con lo que usted acaba de decir, señor, mira, mi libro, por lo cual yo me maté estudiando mucho, de análisis estructural, yo tengo que tirarlo al zafacón.
He's throwing away his books because he
Mi
said,
libro
probably
de
don't know
Reinforced
anything.
Concrete, yo tengo que tirarlo al zafacón. Mi libro de mecánica de materiales, tengo que tirarlo al zafacón. Mi libro de mecánica de fluidos, señor, tengo que tirarlo al zafacón. Mi libro de dinámica, también tengo que tirarlo al zafacón. Mi libro de suelo, tengo que tirarlo al zafacón. Como también tengo que tirar al zafacón entonces todos los libros de cálculo diferencial, incluyendo los libros de hidrología y de agua, con el cual nosotros, los que estudiamos ingeniería, se nos educa. Usted es simplemente una persona que a falta de inteligencia se le dio por ser muy idiota y se le ocurrió decir que a la piscina la arrancaron los vientos. Algo que está bajo tierra. Usted dijo que no fue el mar lo que lo arrancó. Ni siquiera el uplift pressure funciona, el señor, porque tiene agua, ¿no? Y no hay fuerza de levantamiento. Y usted fue contra toda la ciencia. Y yo le pido tiempo igual a Jay Fonseca para ahí yo dar un desfile de todos los conocimientos científicos con los cuales a nosotros se nos educó. Para eso mismo, para ponerlo en el servicio de nuestro pueblo y de las personas que no tuvieron la oportunidad de poder educarse como nosotros lo hicimos, y terminar con la corrupción y con charlatanes como este, que se prestan para destruir nuestras playas con unos fundamentos ridículos. Y yo creo que este pueblo tiene que ponerle un freno, un detente a lo que se llama el cartel de los permisos. El señor Machalgo debe renunciar ya. Ya. El de la Junta de Planificación, usted debe renunciar ya.
So in here, basically, he's just stating the people that work and how they move the permits that are approved to do this massive destruction to our coastline as a mafia. He's basically saying that they just have a mafia in the permits departments because at the end of the day, I will show it in a minute once we finish the video, and I will try to not stop it as much. But um, if you think about it, once we show the pictures of what's going on, you guys will understand what Eliezer is stating here when he's saying that basically the uplift pressure of the sea when it comes so violently, especially during hurricane season. We're in hurricane season from June 1st to November 30th. Puerto Rico, the Caribbean, even Texas now, Florida are under watch for hurricanes or tropical storms. And for those of you that have not lived a hurricane, trust me, those winds are strong. But come on, uplifting a pool, cement, bars, that makes no sense. Obviously, that was the pressure of the sea coming in and try to reclaim what is theirs. So we saw it on also the coast of Condado after Maria, how the level of the sea rose up. And also for those of you guys who do not know, Puerto Rico is an island that underneath the water is shaped in as a cone. And we're actually under the level of the sea. So it's going to happen whenever we get like a huge storm. For the first 1 or 2 years that we're dealing with this, we're not going to have a coastline, so you have to let the sea have some space to expand and then decrease. That makes sense, especially when you know that beaches are of public domain also. So there's different things happening here. And we have people approving permits for these morons that don't know how to build and they just want to live in logs at the expense of our natural resources. Because if it was just that they're losing the pool, they can rebuild it. Okay, fine. But let's not forget, we have there the reserve for the carey turtles that are almost at the brink of extinction. On top of that, those materials that will get into the sea will pollute the sea and will continue to pollute the sea for years to come. And nobody's going to get them out. How can you get out cement out of the sea? I want to see that, and cinder blocks and all this stuff. So look at what Olabor is saying. She says, I think that's why the building collapsed in Miami. Definitely. I would comment a little bit on that. But if you think about it, Miami lacks a lot of planning when it comes to their buildings, especially buildings that were built before 2011. Did not factor in this type of stuff. So we're going to see a lot of stuff like this. And that's what Eliezer basically is talking about. So he's calling for the secretaries and the directors of these agencies to resign, or for people to demand that they resign. Because how come you knowing that this is a fact, you're just among each other passing the hot potato saying, well, yeah, we agree with Eliezer, the permit should not be approved, but that's for this agency. And then the director of that agency is like, well, we approved it because we got the okay from natural resources. And then OCPE is like, well, we approve it, and then keep passing the hot potato just to not take accountability, because in reality they know this is illegal. But because it's the cousin of the governor, well, let's just do it. The cousin. Let's continue the video.
Ya. Y Delfonso Ruiz, usted debe renunciar ya. Aquí, si el Departamento de Justicia no hace nada, ni el gobernador de Puerto Rico no hacen nada, son tan corruptos como lo que ahora yo les voy a decir. Porque yo no me maté estudiando toda una vida para tener que dejar mi seguridad, el tiempo de mi familia, ¿ves? Para poder detenerlo, a falta de sensatez que nosotros no brillamos. Lo que le voy a decir ahora es algo fuerte. Y yo lamento mucho, los nombres van a salir ahora, de que ustedes tengan que vivir por algo así. Yo no, yo los voy a enfrentar. Pero mire, hace unos días yo fui con mis hijos allí a esta playa de los Almendros y hubo una señora que sacó una cámara y empezó a sacarme el dedo. Esa señora llamó por teléfono a los 5 minutos. Había más de 7 patrullas sobre 20 efectivos de la policía. Imaginen el poder que tiene. Y yo le voy a decir algo a Carmen. Mire, Carmen, usted se metió con la persona equivocada. Y ya yo tengo todos los donativos que usted le dio, utilizando hasta su propio apellido, ¿ve? Y el de su esposo, a Pedro Pierluisi. Tengo los donativos que le dio a Alejandro García Padilla. Tengo los donativos que le dio a Tomás Rivera Chat. Tengo conocimiento de por qué el día de mi vista había un ex fiscal sentado en la parte de atrás de la butaca, lo cual para mí fue insólito. Yo en aquel momento no sabía quién era, pero ya yo sé por qué ese fiscal estaba allí, Carmen. Ya yo sé quiénes son los que también trabajan los juguetes. ¿Ves? Y poco a poco fui uniendo los elementos y todo lo que yo les voy a decir a ustedes ya está en registro. Así que pueden intentar hacerme el daño que ustedes entiendan y ya no lo van a lograr porque ya está escrito. Yo quisiera saber, y les voy a hacer unas preguntas para ver si la prensa de este país va y se las hace. Yo quisiera saber, Walter Pierluisi, si a usted el FBI lo está investigando. Yo quisiera saber, FBI, si a través de esas investigaciones que ustedes se dieron cuenta el daño que le iban a hacer a mi persona. Al abogado criminalista de Aguadilla, ojo, y no intente dar un paso, porque usted podrá conocer la élite, pero Eliezer Molina conoce al pueblo y tiene al pueblo. Y Eliezer Molina conoce a las personas a quienes muchos de ustedes le solicitan los encargos.
Now, oh my God. Basically, you guys know that the Puerto Rico governor, Pedro Pierluisi, his cousin is Walter Pierluisi, and he's blatantly asking Walter Pierluisi, are you being investigated by the FBI? Is this the reason why? I don't know if you guys remember the second video that I did on Eliezer Molina when they tried to assassinate him, having assassinated for protesting this and saying that it was the governor's cousin. He asked also the FBI in this video if this is the reason why they came across some information that he was about to be killed, if it was as a result of the investigation that they had on Walter Pierluisi. So let's continue. We're about to finish the video, so I'm gonna play it, but so that the people that don't speak Spanish can understand what he's talking about.
Al señor Walter Pierluisi, es cierto que hasta su propio hermano está testificando con los federales en su contra. Eso es cierto. No al FBI de aquí, porque todos sabemos lo corrupto que es. ¿Es cierto eso? ¿Es cierto que en esas conversaciones entonces que sale mi nombre? ¿Es cierto? Yo lamento mucho el que haya sido esta situación lo que haya destapado algo que muy pronto todos van a saber. Qué lástima. Y qué orgullo a la vez. ¿Por qué orgullo? Porque yo vine aquí a tumbar corruptos y yo lo dije desde el día 1. Muchos me tildaron de loco. Ya vieron que no soy loco. Es que simplemente tengo unos conocimientos que adquirí por muchos años de estudio que me parece que el 90% de este pueblo no lo entiende. Pero comienza a entenderlo. Y si ustedes vieron cómo la comunidad científica se unió detrás de un reclamo justo, el del cual nosotros estamos haciendo, pues ya saben por qué ellos escogieron a Cobo Santa Rosa. Y nosotros, sin buscar a nadie, la comunidad científica se nos unió. A esta mafia grande, yo no tengo nada que ver con Walter Pierluisi. Yo no tengo nada que ver. Lo que haya hecho él, que lo responda él. ¿Vieron? Pregunten a la prensa de este país mañana. busquen a ese charlatán y pregúntenle a ese señor si los federales están investigando. ¿Ve? Y si su hermano testifica en contra de él. Yo me alegro. A los legisladores de este país, muevan su poder. Que de una vez y por todas ya no se pueda construir en la arena. Que se respete lo que se llama un bien de dominio público marítimo terrestre. Y saquen de ese puesto a Rafael Machalgo. Saquen a Daniel Pagán y los contratos que Machalgo le está dando. Saquen a Ildefonso Ruiz. Saquen a Gabriel, el de OCPE. Y terminen de una vez y por todas con la mafia de los permisos que existe en este país. Porque los nombres de todos ustedes van a empezar a correr en los próximos días. Y no tengan miedo. Ustedes comiencen a preocuparse. El caso nuestro ya está muerto. A los fiscales les aconsejo que le hagan justicia a este país, que no se dejen llevar por estas personas, porque no va a haber juguetes que compren la conciencia de este pueblo. Ojo, y no utilicen el poder que el pueblo les ha conferido para revertirlo contra el propio pueblo por beneficiar sus intereses personales. Así que ya los agarramos. A tu aportadora monetaria, Tomás Rivera Chat. Ojo con la mafia que han hecho en recursos naturales. Ojo, porque todos los nombres de ustedes saldrán en los próximos días en un organigrama.
Now, you guys saw this is insane. The accusations or the, I would say, alleged accusations that Eliezer Molina is doing right now. It's basically connecting the dots in why it's so difficult or why these things happen and who's doing the backdoor deals. Many of you guys know that I have mentioned him several times. This individual, okay, he has been in the politics scene since the 1990s when Pedro Rosselló, the not this Rosselló, but Rosselló father, was governor, who was the first one who brought him in. And this dude came to actually stay. And this is Tomas Rivera Schatz. And to be honest with you, it's so crazy because every time something that is super corrupt happens, this is where it leads. And basically, Eliezer Molina is tying dots between this guy, this guy, and Tomas Rivera Schatz. And what they have in common is one person that saw him going to the beach the other day, the same beach that he's trying to stop the construction and the deterioration of that habitat for the carey turtles. He went over there with his kids, and basically, there was this lady that he found out is a donor from all of these three people. This is the OCPE director. This is the director of permit constructions in Puerto Rico. And this is right now a senator that it was the Senate president in the past term. So it's not a coincidence that all these people are friends, that all these people help each other behind closed doors. And also, let's not forget the crazy one, the crazy connection, Pedro Pierluisi. We know that the construction that they're doing is his cousin, the one who's doing it. Well, his brother. I'm sorry, it wasn't his cousin, it's his brother, Walter Pierluisi. So, to be honest with you, uh, Walter Pierluisi right now is being investigated by the FBI. And at some point in the future days, I would say this week or the next one, who knows, maybe in 3 weeks, who don't know, we don't know. But it's out there. There's some rumors on the street that right now Pedro Pierluisi is testifying against his brother to save his own neck with the feds. So let's see what happens. But this plot keeps on taking a little bit more when it comes to Eliezer Molina and what he's saying. And a lot of people that thought that he was crazy are not realizing, yo, this man actually was right. We should start listening to him more, especially now that we're seeing that our national forest is up for sale, that a lot of people, a lot of Americans are coming and buying our lands. They're developing our lands instead of us claiming it. They're actually displacing a lot of people from their lands, claiming, oh, permits are not right. But it's because there is a mafia behind this whole permit situation that's stripping people from lands and giving it to the Americans. Why? Because they get a profit. And this is their reaction. They love it. Now, I'm going to show you guys. I already showed you how this whole construction is happening right now, but I want to show you guys a picture of November 2017, that same location. This is what happened with the pool and the little patio that was out there after Hurricane Maria. This is the social space that, according to this quote unquote expert brought to Jay Fonseca's show, was saying that the wind lift all of these bars, steel bars, the cinder blocks, the cement, that it wasn't the sea that got in there. Now, I want you guys, the few people that are here with me, if you guys think that the sea did this, put a 1 on the shot. If you think this was the winds, then put a number 2. But I'm gonna go with the sea, because obviously when the sea inserts pressure, and let's not forget that the foundation of this whole construction is sand. It's not cement, it's not real land, it's just sand. When that exercises pressure and it starts to also taking a lot of sand into the sea, the thank you, Ramon and Olabor agree with me, they put 1. When that happens, it's gonna start taking some of the construction with it, because the foundation is not set, it's not pressure in there, because it's not built for that. So you don't have a proper foundation, but you still want to put our beach through that. And it took a lot to actually cleanse the beach and that sector from it. Now imagine if, you have the little turtles trying to, nest in the sea during the hurricane season, by the way. Many of them already don't fucking survive. Imagine now having to fight man-made disasters. And then we want to call it, oh, global warming. That's why our coastline is disappearing. No, it's man-made. Man-made. This disaster is man-made. So, to be honest with you, this I see this construction, as much as Eliezer and the people of Puerto Rico are fighting it, and suing and doing all the proper things instead of just marching for no reason. They're actually suing and doing the stuff that they're supposed to do and using the media to their advantage. I see this construction continuing for at least 2-3 more months. uh Thankfully now he has the support of the mayor of Rincon, but I don't see this construction stopping anytime soon. These people are capricious, and they will continue by all means necessary, because simply they just want to be right. Now there's a diagram that one of the coastlines and experts in Puerto Rico did, explaining what will happen. If you guys can see at the bottom, there's the building for the complex that they already had, and if you guys can see, in the area where the pool is going to be, they're not even supposed to build over there, because when the sea rises, if you guys see the left, I'm at the bottom picture. When the sea rises during the months of June through November, it's going to start to take sand with it, and what that creates is that it creates a negative space that eventually will make that pool crack from the bottom. So I don't know who is the expert on this. Jose also says 1. Yeah, it makes no sense. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, do these people actually think? And I'm gonna say this, even though we're still a small community, but like, if somebody in the future or on the replay catches this, do you guys really think that millennials in Puerto Rico are stupid? Most of us are college graduate and experts on this. We have seen in different areas how you guys have fucked up communications, fucked up media. Now you're fucking up the engineer sector. Come on, we know what's going on. You can't use the same tricks that you could use with our grandparents that did not have past 8th grade education and could not fight you guys. You guys are not a match for us. We know what's going on. We know what you guys are doing. Ramon said a lot of the global warming is man-made. So yeah, they can say it's global warming, but it raises the sea levels. Yeah, definitely. One of the things that, and I will share that in the future, but I don't necessarily agree with this whole go green mentality. And that I will have to agree with the Shito. Donald Trump was right when he said that a lot of it was a hoax, and it's true. If you look into it, you'll realize it. I'm not gonna make that for you. Pick a book and actually come with your own conclusion, like Ramon and most of the people in the chat did, and myself. So back to what I was saying. We're not stupid, you guys. Do you guys think that we get this dude with this little smile? You think he's gonna fool us? That most of these people are not actually professionals in what they do? That we don't know that this is what's going to happen? That this is what we're going to see again? Puerto Rico gets hurricanes all the time. We're almost immune to it, but you guys are crippling us when you keep building this shit. We're not stupid. You guys are, but we're not. So with that being said, you guys know how I do it here. I'm gonna open the lines. I'm gonna share the link. So if you have your opinion about this topic, feel free to come up. We're gonna do like a very small chat about it. I don't want to stay here for like a long time. But for sure, comment, let's share our thoughts. Do you guys think that these morons think we're stupid? I think they believe that they can mess with our generation. And this is precisely why I constantly keep nailing into, let's get our business and our money together, because it's only with money and businesses that Eliezer has been able to fight these people. That's why I always said, be an Eliezer, never be like the sellouts that actually don't have the studies, the knowledge, the money to actually fight this stuff. Okay, because the only thing we can do is just get our stuff together, and instead of going outside with little flags and trying to protest and march and whatnot, we can start suing these motherfuckers or buying the land off of them and making them, just go somewhere else. We're not for sale. Okay. So one thing I will definitely do, I'm going to go into intermission. You guys know how I do it here. Once I come back, definitely we're going to have the discussion. So I'm going to go for a few minutes. Grab your snacks, grab your drinks. Also, before you leave, follow me on Instagram if you don't do already, and make sure, like I said, you like, subscribe, because it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me grow my channel. With that being said, I'm gonna go into intermission for 5 minutes. It's 11:32 where I'm at, and I will be back at 11:37. And we are back from our intermission. And before I see that all aboard is here. Before I let people in, you know that the views and the statements of the guests do not necessarily represent those of the channel and or those of the panel members, as some comments may be offensive to select groups of people. Also know that by calling into the live show, you waive your rights to the use of your image and likeness for the purposes of this show. Now, without any further ado, let's all aboard come in. And also, I see that Jose is here. How are you guys?
Hi, how are you?
Hello, good afternoon.
How are you guys doing today?
Doing fine, thank you.
I see that you're taking a stroll, Jose. Where you at?
Well, actually, I'm out, on my way to a barbecue, but I wanted to stop in and, to hear this late breaking information. I think you have a future in journalism.
Oh, well, uh, proud. You know, you're not the first person who tells me this stuff, but I mean, I love sound too much. But we'll see. You never know. You know, life takes you in different paths.
That is so true.
Yeah, and so far, you know, I'm gonna keep on bringing you guys developments because I like a lot of you guys actually enjoy when I bring you guys news from the ground of what's happening in Latin America. So definitely I'll continue to do that. We'll see what happens.
It's okay.
Now I see all aboards here. How are you, girl?
Doing great.
Great, great. What do you think about the whole situation on Eliezer Molina? Like, what do you think about what's happening?
I think that what he's saying is spot on. These things don't happen without corruption. Someone's palms were greased to look the other way and allow these different permits and these things to be built. And they don't care about the people that it's impacting, because the same thing is happening in Miami right now. Um, it happened a couple of years ago as well, where there was a bridge that collapsed,
Yeah,
and they found out that the company um, had violations. They didn't do proper permits, and people died. They came there, they saw that there were cracks in the structure, and instead of shutting the whole thing down, they left it, and then
yeah,
people died, right?
definitely.
Innocent people. So I think that what he's doing is he's being a whistleblower, and that's something that America is supposed to pride itself on: whistleblowers.
Yeah, yeah. But instead of priding themselves into him blowing the whistle, they actually are trying to make him pay for it. What they're actually doing is they try to kill him. Now they're trying to set him, put him behind bars for 14 years. A lot of people are trying to smear him in front of his children. You know, it's been kind of crazy. I'm gonna move to Rakim on his initial thoughts. Rakim, how are you?
Hey, how you doing today, Denise? How's everybody on the panel? What's up, Jose, Ramon, all aboard?
Hello.
We're good, good.
Hello, how
Uh,
you doing?
Doing pretty
what are
well.
your thoughts? What are your thoughts on this whole situation with Eliezer Molina?
Well, I got to agree with what all aboard was saying. Palms have definitely been greased, and the politicians of Puerto Rico have learned well from their American counterparts. But the difference is today is like you were saying in your stream, we're not stupid. That's one of the things I am thankful for when it comes to the internet, because we're able to research more information and get background checks on these guys. And
Yeah,
all of these guys are in connection. And one thing I've learned over the years, it doesn't matter what the actual race of the person is. Most of these guys are corrupted when they get to top tiers of power, and they sell their own people out, and they don't care about the working class people who are just trying to survive day to day and make it. Once they get into these elite classes, they become corrupt, and it's all about the almighty dollar to them, and they honestly don't care, as long as they can have a scapegoat to be able to deter people's minds from the actual corruption that they've committed. Then that's the only thing that they're really concerned about. Other than that, as long as they have their millions, as long as they're rich, that's the only thing that they're concerned with.
yeah, definitely, definitely, I agree, and it's something that, like I stated before, it's the only way to fight this is by becoming more knowledgeable on finances and corporations. You have to dive into that. It's the only way to fight it. The fights right now are economical. We're no longer trying to beg nobody for nothing. That's what losers do. We actually go and take it, and the only way for you to be able to take it is becoming an active yourself, a financial active. That's one of my pet peeves when people tell me like, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening. We actually have to put in the work. We have to actually become the owners of stuff in order for us to fight with our dollars. Now I'm going to move to Ramon, my fellow Puerto Rican. What's up, Ramon? ¿Cómo estás?
Todo bien. ¿Me oyes bien, ma?
Sí, te oigo bien, te oigo bien.
Okay. Greetings to you, Joaquin, Don Jose, and all aboard. How you guys doing?
How are you?
Doing
Yeah,
fine,
yeah.
thank you.
Okay, good. Yeah. It's just that I wish I could be at home so I could be more chill, but I'm out here running errands, so I won't be long. But yeah, I still needed to kind of like chime in on this situation. It is becoming, this is something that we have talked about before, about the political aspect of this whole imprisonment or attempted imprisonment of Eliezer. There is it's not so much about committing a crime. This is more about silencing somebody who has something to say, who is in the right. It's about suppression. It's political persecution. There is very little else to it. It's not about nothing moral, nothing lawful, or anything like that. They're trying to make him a political prisoner. They're trying to make
Yeah,
an example out of him. We have talked about it before. It's becoming more and more apparent. It's an outrage. It is an outrage because it's not even about. It's about, as you have said before, it is something that is part of what is public. It's for everyone. It's to be shared with the people, with the islanders, with the population, and they're trying to privatize something that has been for hundreds of years, that has belonged to the people, and then
yeah,
they're privatizing it. And because somebody stepped foot on a construction site, they're trying to give this stiff penalty that is politically motivated.
definitely, definitely. Because he dared to do the things that were right. He dared to do the right steps. I that's the way I see it. I'm like, okay, we can't. This is not like a dumb brute or somebody that's not cultured. This is somebody that went to school, has a business, has his money. Okay, we have to handle this man and make an example of him. I agree with you on that one 100%.
And he sacrificed himself instead of sitting someone else with less of a platform. He sacrificed himself
Yeah,
so that he
yeah.
could get the message across.
Yeah, if you go through all of his social media, you will see there's a lot of people that are starting to notice, hey, I didn't support you during the campaign, but I'm starting to see that what you were saying is actually true, and this is the proof. Because there's something that I always say, I can lie, another person can lie, but numbers and facts never lie. So that's something that's like really, really, really insane, that's happening with Eliezer Molina, and the fact that they want to put him behind bars right now. I'm flabbergasted by it. I see that Jose wanted to say, well, Ramon, you wanted to say something, or it was Rakim? No, Rakim. Go
No,
ahead.
Rakim, let him.
Well, I just wanted to say, like what you were saying, Denise, we have to learn to, get financial power, economic power. But one thing we have to be very aware of that the more economic power we get, and the more that people, especially on an island, gain economic power and try to fight corruption, the more fearful that a lot of these corrupted officials are going to be, and their attempts are going to be more crucial. They're
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to be more, you know, brutal in their attempts to try to silence the people, especially when you're fighting with, when you're fighting fire with fire.
Yeah, I don't know if you pick up on his video, but he said something that you guys might, be with the elites and have the elites in your pocket, but I have the people. And I was like, yeah, that's freaking true. This is the same thing that happened with Pedro Albizu Campos. Come on, we're having a Harvard graduated with honors lawyer fighting for the freedom of Puerto Rico with facts, taking you to court, doing all kinds of stuff with your money. And because of that, and even so, a lot of people would say, well, at the end of the day, got him killed. Yeah, he did got killed, but at the end of the day, he knew that his movement was not going to be the one that freed the people, but will inspire the future generations to actually continue the plight. And we had to follow his business plan. We cannot be like, oh, I'm an activist and I'm going to move here and there. I've said it many times in this platform before. We have to follow the business plan like Pedro Viso Campos did, like Filiberto did, like Eliezer Molina is doing. Get the money, get the titles, get the knowledge, and then fight.
Yes, and I can't remember who actually came up with this statement, but I remember hearing it years ago in the for Pedro Albizu Campos. He actually sacrificed himself for the love of his people in the term that I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees.
Mm-hmm.
You
He
know,
even said, we're not small, we're just on our knees. He literally just said that many years ago. We're talking about the 50s and the 60s. So definitely that's something that, I
And
wish more people would just pick a book and read. Go ahead, Olabor.
if you can, and we've seen it in Puerto Rico. We saw it. They rose up and they got a corrupted leader out of there. They
Yeah,
did it with their numbers. So it is very possible. We just can't let the momentum die, because there's one thing to march, right? But then we have to act. And
exactly.
just marching, they already listen. The corrupted people already know what they're doing is wrong. They know it, right? So
Yeah,
we have to fight them on their terms, on their grounds, because
yeah.
now the people know. People are aware of the corruption. Now we have to make a transition into whether it be politics. Denise, I could see you running for politics.
Oh,
I
trust
could
me,
see it.
you're not the first one who has told me that, but unfortunately, I got this courage to continue a law degree because I really don't want to be in that little box, and I really don't feel that you can actually maximize the way things move by just being in politics. So I was like, maybe in my 40s, who knows? I don't know. We'll
Yeah,
see.
but there's gonna be more people that could come out of this, like millennials.
Yeah, I'd
I
rather
think that's
support somebody that's like really that's their area.
their passion.
And yeah, and I will support them 100%. But to me, I like to be more free to, venture in different things. And
You
let's
want
not
to be
forget,
able to reach people out
I'm
online,
yeah,
when you feel the need, like, no bullshit.
and I'm still a sound engineer. So I'd rather just venture into that area. But also we have a duty, and I feel like, well, in all of our different areas we have to all pitch in and start doing something. And also, because of the mistakes and the things that I have learned financially, I wanted to share them with people so that they didn't have to make the same mistakes as I did and be set back. So look, you're Melanated Knight is one of the biggest person that has told me all the time, like, oh, you should run for office of some kind. But no, honey, do not get me started on that.
Hey, Denise, Denise, I would settle for you just being an advisor to some politicians.
You think so? Well,
Yeah. I mean, you can call people out on their BS. You see it. You got very sharp critically thinking skills. You know your research, and like you said on the earlier, we've seen this time and time before, and we can no longer be tricked into believing what these politicians are saying. All
yeah.
you got to do is follow their actions, and just like you said, when seeing all of those guys that are connected. And what's the
Yes.
one guy that you've done multiple videos on?
Oh, first Pedro Pierluisi, our governor, and Tomas Rivera Schatz.
Yeah, yeah. He look at that smile, man. He looks like he's doing some type of embezzlement. Look at
Oh
that.
yeah.
Look.
Oh my God, definitely. Come on, dude. You don't you don't turn into somebody that has had a career close to. Look, the first time I saw Rivera Schatz on TV, his hair color matched the color of his eyebrows. Imagine how many years this dude has been in politics. I was a child, an infant, when he started running for office. This is some crazy shit. And somehow people hate him, but he always comes out. It's like, how many of you guys have seen this strawberry candies on the piñatas? You know the strawberry candies that you never fucking buy,
Yeah.
but somehow they keep popping out of nowhere and you always have one? That's
Yeah,
Tomas Rivera chance.
yeah,
It's the name recognition. It's the name recognition, and also, you know what? What I noticed, who America wants in power is going to be in power around the globe, except for certain Middle Eastern countries. And when they can't do it there, they're going to start a war. But whoever America wants is going to be in power.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And not
They're
only
going to
that,
put
in
money
Puerto
behind it.
Rico, the problem in Puerto Rico is that you have some of the benefits of this country. However, you don't have so much of regulation. So these people, because they have been in power so much, which is why I believe even here in the United States, I don't believe politicians should stay more than 2 terms. Okay, anybody should stay more than 2 terms, because when you do that you create an elite class. How? Because these people then start to get to know how to trick the system that we have put in place to give us the freedoms that we have. So eventually you have people making a freaking career out of this, but actually they're just uplifting each other and helping each other out, making backdoor deals and alliances that will cost you money, and also will cost lives. So that's the problem that I've seen in a micro concept in Puerto Rico, and I'm seeing in a macro concept here in the United States. It's just how these people make a freaking career in politics. No, 2 terms, you're out. You cannot run for any fucking public office. Go ahead,
Excuse
Jose.
me. Can I just chime in for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, see the problem. Okay, I cannot speak as far as Puerto Rico is concerned, but in the United States, in order to run for politics, you gotta have a gazillion dollars. Okay, either you have a gazillion dollars, or you have to sell your soul to financial parties. That's the sad part. And as far as as far as the term limitations are concerned, it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to bring about term limitations as far as the Senate and the House. Because why? Because the two main parties are not going to allow it, and it's going to have to take maybe a revolt to change that. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it to me, this is the way I see it. Instead of a revolt like we do, I think it's going to take a collective acknowledgement of what's going on, and also a collective financial effort from people, which is why when I started, I don't know if you guys remember on my first streams like 2 months ago, I was like, I know I'm not speaking to 100% of the people, I'm talking to 10%. And I'm ready to link up with the 10% so that we can then start making the rules the way we like them. Because unfortunately, we can't save everybody. And we know 80% of our people are not going to make it somehow.
No,
So it would take the 10% to do a super huge effort to actually catch up with these people on the financial side so you can gain some power.
true. And you know what's the sad part about all of this is that your mission is to try to help us empower ourselves. Okay, that we need to be our own businesses, be the masters of our own fate. The problem is you have too many people who do not have a vision. So therefore, when a person does step forward, to try to help others to be empowered, they tag that person like dogs on a bone. And that's the situation that you've been dealing with, Denise, since the day one that I've known you. And and I just wish that some of these mentally and intellectually challenged idiots, if they would just get off their personal agenda, if just get their own therapy and just sit down and analyze what you are trying to do. You doing all this for the well-being of our people. Unfortunately, that requires a thing called intelligence, which some people don't choose to use.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with you, and that's why it's so sad cuz you see so much potential being wasted, and but I'm ready to work with only the 10%. And that's why you guys notice that my streams are completely different from this little community that we have formed here, because we have to work with the 10%. We don't have time to waste with the circus. Now I see that Olabor wanted to say something. Go ahead.
I wanted to say that to add to Jose's point, dogs are fighting for the bone, right? Someone said
Mhm.
before, why do dogs like bones? Dogs don't like bones. They want the meat, right? They're given the bones. Once these people understand that they can have the full meal, they can have the meat, they won't have to fight over the bones. And that's what I think that we're trying to do, or that's the goal, is to let the minority understand that we don't need to be fighting over bones when there's meat.
Definitely, definitely, and it's like I said, they will keep their mentality. Some might change, some might not. Some might not understand the times we're living, but I'm telling you, whenever in their personal lives they go through a financial dip, we will be over here to remind them just how stupid they were. Now, I'm gonna start collecting you guys' final thoughts so that we can start wrapping this up. I'm gonna start with Rakim, Ramon, Jose, and then all aboard. So, Rakim, final thoughts.
My final thoughts on the subject on how do you pronounce his name again? Denise
Eliezer,
Elliot San Marina.
Elias, Eliezer
Yeah,
Molina.
Elias Saint Molina. Um, I applaud that man for all of his efforts on trying to combat corruption on the island, because all of the resources is practically being zapped from the island. It's almost like a repeat of the Spanish conquest when they was taking all of the resources from the island, the gold and everything else that they were taking among their conquests. And now the United States are trying to really push an effort to gentrify the property of the island that belongs to the people. And I appreciate him sacrificing himself in order to try to combat these groups of people. Um, a lot of people are not critical thinkers. A lot of people rather stay, in their little cellar, talking about basic things, while you have people that are actually playing real life Monopoly. And so it's up to people that are critical thinkers, such as yourself, to try to look into what can be the resolution for these issues, because we're dealing with a lot of greed here, and we have historically been dealing with greed for a very long time. And I just want to applaud you covering the subject and covering Elliot and his efforts. That's all I got to say.
Definitely. I see that Melanie did not join, but I'm gonna
My
let
boy,
Ramon
my
go
boy,
first.
Melanated Knight. What's up with you, bro?
What's up?
I'm gonna let Ramon go in on his final thoughts. Ramon, what are your final thoughts, man?
When it comes to this situation with the island and how it's being sold off by the selfish, corrupt politicians, we have to look to a degree at what has happened in Hawaii. Okay, yes, we have talked about it before. Um, Hawaii is an actual state. Even though if you look at the history, my understanding is that that's not what they wanted, which is something that could be reminiscent of how it was in Puerto Rico, how the sentiment was in Puerto Rico back in 1917. People
Right.
didn't want it. There was a reason for it back then. Now,
And not only that, Ramon, you remember the gag law? Did you ever saw the gag law that they did on Puerto Rico, that we were not allowed to speak ill of anything of the United States, and we're not even supposed to display our flag, not even inside of your house, so you will be
yeah,
sent
yeah,
10
yeah.
years to jail?
Displaying the Puerto Rican flag that we are so fond of, that we are so protective of. It was a crime. That's why we are so protective of it now. Because for a period of around 50 years, we couldn't display it for risking imprisonment or maybe worse, because that was part of the GOG law. Displaying a flag became a crime, which is a which goes directly against what the First Amendment of the Constitution is supposed to be about. But then again, before the Commonwealth, Puerto Rico was a militarized colony. It was under military control. So islanders, even though they were made citizens, they did not have full protection of the rights given under the Constitution. So this whole thing uh, was the God law could be applied, because the First Amendment did not apply to Puerto Rico. That started to apply better when the Commonwealth, so-called Commonwealth, was established. But uh, what Hawaii has been dealing with is their prime real estate being sold off to outside rich people, and that's what's happening. What's already happening in Puerto Rico. Prime
Yeah.
real estate, beachfront real estate being sold off to outsiders that don't really care about the ecosystem, that they just wanna build whatever the fuck they wanna build, regardless of the damage that it could do to the ecosystem of the island. Then that's also a thing that is happening over there, and that we should be keeping a close eye on this. You said, Dennis, that the millennials now, they are gonna be, because they're smarter, more educated, they should be able to do something about it. I really hope so. I really hope so, because
Yeah.
there is
Yeah.
this reputation for millennials that they are too concerned with first world problems, and they are not they're not trying to do actual serious things. They go too much for symbolic stuff. But I
Yeah,
do hope that
I'm not gonna say 90% of us cares about this or goes about the whole
yeah,
situation the right way. But I
yeah,
would say that there's a 10% that's strong. Trust me, I have linked up with some of my fellow Puerto Ricans on the
okay,
ground that they're involved in this, and I'm telling you, we're in the
yeah,
hundreds. And it's like I said, it
yeah,
doesn't take all of us, but we need a solid group. I don't know if you catch
okay.
on Eliezer talking about how the scientists of our
Yes,
generation actually join
the
him.
scientific community. Yes,
So
yes, I
definitely
heard that part.
trust me, we're definitely fighting this in a different way because we realize that the way our parents and grandparents did it did not work. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. Well,
something's got to work. Something
yeah,
has to work.
yeah. Last thing. Uh, let's keep Eliezer free. Let's keep him free. This persecution that he's dealing with is almost entirely political. They're trying to make him a political prisoner, just like they did Pedro Albizu Campos. Pedro Albizu Campos was mentioned earlier, and just like Pedro Albizu Campos, they're trying to make him a symbol of political imprisonment in the 21st century. That is against the law. That shouldn't be allowed. Let's keep Eliezer free, out of prison, where he belongs.
Definitely, definitely. Free Eliezer Molina. I'm all up for that movement. Thank you, Ramon, for tuning in. Stay in the backstage so that we can continue our conversation after the show is done. Now I'm gonna move to Melanated Night, Jose, and all aboard. So, Melanated Night, what do you have to say about this whole situation that's happening?
All I have to say is I was right. You should have ran for office. You should run for office. Rakim and Oliver hit it on the nail. It's just too much, and I understand that you don't want to do it because it restricts you. But I think you can unrestrict yourself in that position as well. You can, I feel like you can do both, or if not, have your team of people do do the things that you want to do that you can't do inside. So that way two things are being done at the same time. But I still understand if you don't want to do it because it's a large responsibility. But as for the island, me, I personally don't think the United States should even have a say in Puerto Rico. I often find it weird that they like to hold the island hostage, but then like claim it's American at the same time. But in the Olympics, we got two different flags, so that's
Yeah.
always been weird to me. But that's it.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna put you in the back. Don't go anywhere. I'm gonna say yeah. I mean, like I said, it's something that maybe when I'm older, but right now I want to concentrate on creating music, on focusing on sound. You guys know that's what I enjoy. But who knows? Maybe that's where the road might take me. Now I'm gonna go to Jose. Jose, what are your final thoughts on this topic?
Well, again, I thank you for allowing me to be part of this stream. You are a gem, giving us, solid information. Um, I would suggest to all my fellow Neuroicans that please get yourself involved regarding the affairs of Puerto Rico because eventually it's going to affect us one way or another. As always, please be safe because there are crazy people who want to do us harm. And I'm going to end my final speech in Spanish, speaking to the Lotep.
Okay.
Mira, idiotas, deja hablando bestias de Denise. Ella está haciendo un esfuerzo para nuestro bienestar. Ella está dando información que nosotros necesitamos sobre esta isla. El vez criticando a Denise por tener una relación con un americano africano, trata de meter un poco de tiempo, trata de conocer su cultura y trata de conocer qué está pasando en Puerto Rico. ya basta ya hablando de estupidez. Por favor, saca el chupete de tu boca y trata de aprender poco más sobre Puerto Rico. And that's all I got to say on that.
That was perfect. Thank you, Jose,
Wow.
very much.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that. I would say, I agree with you 100%. And yeah, it's something that we will see. We will see what happens in the upcoming months, but definitely, yeah, there's a lot of New Ricans and a lot of Puerto Ricans and all the Ricans all around that need this information. We need to come together.
Denise, I think the slow touch got upset.
The slow taps, they're upset because the tent from the circus ripped yesterday, so they're upset about that, and they run out of monkeys, so they need to go get some. So definitely, because more people are joining this side because they're realizing, hey, talking shit about another community is not going to solve our problems.
No,
So definitely, yeah, they're upset, but let's just let the circus be the circus. Let's just keep it moving.
exactly,
So thank you
exactly.
very much, Jose. I'm gonna put you in the back. Don't go anywhere so you can
Okay,
join the discussion after the show. Now I'm going to go to all aboard. All aboard, your final thoughts, girl.
My final thoughts. Um, what I'm wondering is this: what happens when they sell off all of the land? Because we all know that land is power. Land gives you a voice, right? Property gives you a voice. So
Hmm.
when they sell off the land to gringos, right?
Yeah,
What happens then to the voice of the people? That's all strategic,
yeah. The,
right?
the next step is statehood.
That's the next step,
Hmm.
right? Because what they're doing is they're testing gentrification.
Yeah,
It's a test run. But I would also say, as far as like the corruption and with the illegal permits and all of that, I really believe that the same thing is happening in South Florida. And right now we have a building that's collapsed. We have a bridge that's collapsed. A bridge collapsed in Washington. They, what's what's happening is very dangerous because it's money. It seems like okay, someone is just making money, but there's people's lives at stake, and it's bigger than just excuse me. It's bigger than just one company. It's bigger than just one person.
yeah.
There's corruption, and it goes all the way to the top. That's what I believe.
Definitely. It's like Eliezer said, this is a whole mafia. And we have to
Right.
take them one by one. We just have to take key pieces like a Jenga, and it will happen. I believe we still have a chance. It's up to us, but we're in check right now.
Absolutely, we do.
Yeah.
And like you said, with millennials, like we know how to do our research, right? We're not just
Yeah.
blindly voting. We're not just blindly buying even anymore. Like we're starting to be smarter with our dollars. We're starting to be smarter with our votes.
Our
And
food, even our food.
our right, exactly. And honestly, we're gonna be the future of all of this. You were talking about term limits. I also think there should be age limits. There's age restrictions on how young you can be to vote. There should be age restrictions as well, or competency restrictions. For
Yeah,
young
I think it should be also, if you're over the age of 50, you should take like a competence test or something like that, because there's no way you okay. And I'm sorry to my senior population. I'm not discrediting you. There's a lot of seniors that actually have more intelligence than millennials. Let's just put that out there, okay? Look at Jose compared to the slow taps. Now, if you think about it, um I believe there's one thing that I wish that seniors that do not understand the voting process and how that affects the rest of us should take into consideration, not just for Puerto Rico, even here in the United States. You guys are no longer the future.
you're making decisions about things that will never affect you.
I
And
understand that you love this person, it looks cute, you want to vote for a hot governor. I understand all those things, but you're no longer the future. And every time you vote for these people, you're making our lives harder. And that's the only thing, the only piece that we have of a democracy, because I feel we live in a fake democracy, that there's no such thing. But
Well, think about it. A lot of those people have their lives are already set and in place, so they're not going to vote for universal health care because they have their health care. They have Medicaid, right? They
yeah,
have insurance. They're not going to vote for these things, but the majority of us need them. We need health care, so
yeah, not
we
only that, not only
need.
that, healthcare is one thing, but another one is like all the legislation these people pass at the end of the day is gonna mess us up, because then they're opening the wallet to pay for things that actually does they don't represent benefit for the people. They actually cut productivity in a lot of folks, and also expanding, for example, expanding welfare is fucking up the families. So like I said, it's
Well, a
I
lot of
hope.
people voted. A lot of people are going to vote based off of what happened during their youth. Like these people were, they were products of like the Cold War, and they were, they were products of like wars, right?
Yeah,
Great
yeah,
Depression and things like that. So the boomers, so they're going to be voting based off of things that don't exist anymore, or things
yeah,
that could be, solved in a better way. So I think we should
definitely.
definitely, the same way we take a driver's license test, since they want to do like voter ID laws, let's do a competency test.
Yeah,
See if you know about
definitely.
government.
Yeah, definitely. Don't vote anymore for colors. Thank you, Oliver. I'm gonna put you in the back also, and I'm gonna share my final thoughts before we close this one. Okay, and I'm gonna go on a little mini benevolent rant. Okay, but I'm gonna say this: I don't have anything against the elders. Like I said, there's so much we can learn from them. But let me just put this out there: if you're going to vote and exercise your vote, you're gonna fight for it. Learn how to freaking use it. Like I said just minutes before, you are not the future anymore. Instead of you just voting for whoever is charismatic to you and stop the identity politics, sit down with the youth, start talking to them about what's affecting them today, and say, hey, how can I use this little thing that I have to actually help them out? Because eventually it will cost you. It's already costing you. Look at how they're cutting your pensions. Look at how they're cutting your social security, but expanding welfare. Why? Because you're voting for the same morons that are destroying society and cutting productivity in the youth. And the youth no longer has to work to provide you with social security. So if you think this shit doesn't affect you, good luck. But I want to leave you guys with also my thoughts on Eliezer Molina. Look, I have a lot of respect and admiration for people like Eliezer Molina, because it's not easy. Trust me, I lived 25 years on this island and I go visit every 2 years or so. And it's not easy having to deal with people that purposely, even though they have so much to give and are so resourceful, also have restricted education and want to stay like that, because I was also exposed to the same education, but I was so thirsty for information because they starved me from it, and they starve every Puerto Rican from information. So I want to say, and I want to close this like this: it's time to turn off the social media, it's time to get off of Netflix, and it's time to start picking up a fucking book. If you don't want to read, then go to Audible and let somebody read to you. But it's time for you to start opening the book. It's time for you to actually become familiar with the smell of books, so you can actually teach you what the system didn't want it to teach you on purpose. It's time for you to actually go to the bank one day, sit down with the manager and say, hey, how can I build up my credit? How can I start a business? Also, it's time for you to go to your local SBA office. I've said this before. Sit down over there and say, hey, I don't know how to build or make a small business plan. They will teach you for free. There's no fucking excuse anymore for us to not do what we have to do. Okay, if you want to look for excuses, They'll always be there. They'll always be there. But honestly, we don't want to hear your excuses. When somebody comes to me, oh, life did not allow me to do this stuff, allow me to do this. Nah, fuck that shit. Your excuses are for you. Morons than not do not actually fool anybody with their excuses. So, like I said, it's something that I'm sick of it. I know there's a lot of people that are sick of it. And also, I want to say to the people that are like, well, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that. It is true. You're entitled to make your own decision. You don't have to do anything. As a matter of fact, you can watch that next series and binge watch on Netflix, whatever the fuck it is you want. But you want to know something? We're going to do this with or without you. We actually do not need you. We want you to join us, but we don't. So, with that being said, I'm going to catch you guys on the next one. This was just a brief breaking news and development on Latin Explaining. And let's stay productive. Enjoy your weekend. If you had a rough day last night, well, it's time to replenish those fluids, drink some coffee, keep it moving, keep it productive. I'll see you guys on the next one. This has been another episode of Latin Explaining with Denise Gonzalez. Peace.